forwarding since this is our official networking time. Network away. Well, I get all my screens ready here. Okay. Oh, here comes people. There we go. All right. Welcome. Hey, how are you, Nitin? Look at your background. Where are you?
So fancy.
I know. Like sponsored by Barclays Bank.
Oh, yeah, I'm in my home office. My wife took it over. She took over my home office. So
Oh.
Yeah, I think she has some sort of presentation or something.
Very official.
Yeah. I'll try to change it to Rivertowns Peds at some point.
Great. Oh, hey everyone.
Nitin, how are you feeling?
I'm all right. There's some good days, some tough days, but mostly good days. I'm still trying to run around. Yeah, still active, still running around, but then then it's like 2 days I'll go crazy like I once was, and then it's like, oh, I have to like stop. Like just lay on the couch for the next day.
Take it easy. Welcome to you guys. So this is our unofficial 6:45 to 7, just catch up and chat and network time before the official meeting starts. So, anyone want to chat or say hello, feel free. Otherwise, we'll just all, I'll share. I got my second shot yesterday and I'm feeling good today, which I wasn't sure I would because I've heard something.
Well, it might be tomorrow.
Okay. Well, the first shot, I felt it I felt it 2 days after with the first shot. So I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I have my second one on Monday.
Yay.
And then I'm having a party. I'm just kidding.
immediately.
I want to.
As long as we follow the updated catering event guidelines that.
Yeah.
Mike got his first today.
Yay.
It was supposed to be in mid-April, but he ended up getting a spot and
that's great.
was able to go. Yeah.
Really nice.
We're gonna have a lot of spots in the next couple of weeks. There's just so many more vaccines coming in.
Yeah.
Inventory.
And the federal
New York's
government
doing a good job.
Isn't the federal government setting up sites also?
Oh, I don't know.
State sites? There was on a call that Chuck Schumer was like giving a report on, and he mentioned them using the National Guard to set up some vaccination sites.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one in Yonkers is a FEMA site. That's where I went.
Oh, it is?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all cute National Guardsmen directing you and letting you know where to go.
I know. I have to say, there's cute National Guardsmen at the Westchester County
So
Center.
there you go. So maybe
I have
right. They're very nice.
stop and thank them, and
They all look like my sons, but still cute.
And there are very, very many beautiful and handsome
Mhm.
National Guards people at the Javits Center as well.
yeah.
Well, Mike had an 85-year-old retired nurse.
Uniform.
Oh, well, unfortunately for him.
That's okay.
Jerry, I had a question that has nothing to do with the chamber, but might have something to do with what you're doing with the county executive, although it's still a different government. I'm trying to find the list of, I don't know, maybe the 10 best, youngest Congress people who are committed to the idea of doing the right stuff for climate change. We've
Like
got-
besides Mondaire, I mean,
Mondaire seems like a natural, and AOC seems like a natural, but I'd like to, I have to send an invitation out to like 10.
mhm.
And I just have unless I'm just gonna read everybody's face page, and even then I don't really know what they're committed to.
Yeah,
I've
I
already
mean, I
invited
guess I
Mondaire.
was going to say you could go on and see where they stand, but I would also, if you want to, you could talk to Peter McCart in our office because he's the
Okay.
director of sustainability, and he might have a better, I don't focus on that. Well,
Right.
it's an important issue. It's not the one that I'm,
It's
paying
just
the most
not that
attention
important,
to.
I know.
well, we have people, so I'm saying he would be a person
Yeah, well, Peter and I do a lot of stuff, so I can reach
Right.
out to him.
Yeah,
They should have a list of every
I'm sure they
congressperson.
do, but it's a federal thing, so we wouldn't have that. So.
Yeah.
No.
Cool.
Hey, Patty, I got a question. You know, like there's like the local Boy Scout troop. Every like Eagle Scouts always building like a nature trail, which
Yeah.
is awesome. I take full advantage of it. You know, we're talking about the discern housing and Springhurst, and there's no sidewalk. Can a Boy Scout troop build a nature trail since they're really good at it? From the housing to Springhurst for the kids to walk through?
They would need to have permission.
Yeah.
And the permission would have to be, you know, you're going to two different entities. One is the village, actually three. One is the village of Dobbs Ferry, because they'd have something to say about anything. The second is the school district, because they, you know, there's a reason that the kids have to climb through a hole in a fence, you know, because the school district wanted to have a fence. And the third, of course, is Children's Village, because you'd be making a connection. I mean, there's no good excuse for there not to be a really easy way to have a sidewalk. I was involved in creating the Field of Dreams. I was involved in creating the, you know, I guess what's called the soccer field. It's, you know, an all sports athletic field. Neither one of those was sanctioned by the school district or paid for by the school district. Both of those were things that we got private funding and basically went up and did ourselves. In fact, we got permission from the school district because I think they figured that we weren't going to actually do anything. And then we went up and built the Field of Dreams. We got a bunch of dads to rake out clay. We got donation from the Yankees of the outfield for the grass, because they change it every year. So it was a really cool thing. But that was back then. There was a time when you could do that stuff easier. And I think right now, anything you try and do is going to have a whole bunch of people who have to review it first. And Boy Scouts are not going to be renegade Boy Scouts. They're going to act like Boy Scouts. They're going to do it by the book and do it the right way.
They're
and
Boy
get the right
Scouts.
permissions.
Okay, so what you're saying is
They're literally Boy
not
Scouts.
impossible.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think
I think you earn your Eagle Scout badge just by getting it approved.
that's actually the approval would be the real accomplishment that the Eagle Scout would be.
Oh yeah,
That's
they
what
can whip up a nature trail. I mean, they've got them throughout the aqueduct. It's wonderful.
Right. The nature trail is, I mean, they did the Journey Estate. That was Boy Scouts did that as Eagle Scouts. There've been a number done like that. I think they had something to do with, I always call it Smuggler's Cove, but it's not. It's something else that's that connects basically from, I guess, Lafergie over to Washington Avenue. So there are these trail connections that make it easier for kids to get from one neighborhood to the other neighborhood to get to school. Yeah. And we've talked about actually putting that down on paper. Rob Barron has put a lot of time and energy into it. I actually have all of the maps that have been done, including some that were done back in the 1990s and early 2000s by the county. The county did had an amazingly cool trail map for basically getting from the South County trail line through the property that Dobbs has now where their DPW is, and then south of that, and then continuing into Hillside Park to link up with the aqueduct. But that idea that it's harder to do than you think, the village of Hastings came out very much against that happening because those people would be walking past the elementary school. Yeah. And they said the only way they would imagine this being safe would be if there were 8-foot fences with razor wire on the top.
All right. Well, Patty, I think Elizabeth just sent us a message.
To stop talking?
We need to stop talking.
No, it's not. I did not send you a message. I'm just sharing that, I'm just welcome.
Elizabeth, how long have you known Patty?
Not long.
That was
there you
go.
Interrupting anyone. That is
we could talk about nature trails all day.
Yeah.
Put some links in there.
This is our pre-meeting, networking time, as if we were all hanging out somewhere together. Like hopefully we'll do again someday. But yeah, I just wanted to say anyone can start sharing their info in the chat if they'd like. Just remember, anything you share in the chat now, I would say also share your contact info in the chat after our official start, after 7 p.m. because people who join later don't see the earlier chat. But yeah, anyone want to say hello or say anything before we start the official meeting in a couple minutes?
Whoa.
Hi, County Executive Latimer. Great to see you. We're
Nice to
excited.
see you all. I wanted to see Shari in her hometown.
Nice. Well, hopefully, County Executive Latimer, once we officially kick off at 7, you'll share a few words with us. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, Nitin's saying he thinks we should be good to meet in person by June 1st. Really? That makes me still a little nervous, but you mean maybe outdoors? Maybe meet outdoors, June?
Oh, I think we're doing pretty well. I think the way we're vaccinating, and I don't know, Mindy, you're in here. What do you think? I think the rate we're vaccinating and a lot of our Chamber of Commerce members qualify. Well, I think the rate we're going, I think it's going to be open to general public in just a couple of weeks. So, I mean, we're just doing defend. All the beautiful National Guards people are doing a beautiful job of getting us all vaccinated.
Yes, they are.
Well, that's the thing. If we can, really increase the vaccine rate, then hopefully we could meet. And if not everyone was vaccinated, maybe enough of us will be vaccinated, we could meet outside, or something like that. So that either way, I feel like I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Also, it'll be beautiful in June. So
Well, I think Mark Morganelli is doing the concerts, right? Those are going to be happening this summer. So I think we could do a thing where we meet down at the river
yep.
during, one of the concerts or something, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be fun. All right.
You ready to plan some events, Kate?
It's casual. Awesome. Anyone else want to say hello or share any thoughts before we've got 2 minutes left before the official meeting kicks off?
I'm just going to say that I took one of Kate's cooking classes last week and it was awesome. Awesome. If you have not done it, I cannot recommend it highly enough. It was so good that I went out, I bought more cod, and I'm going to be making it for my son's girlfriend who doesn't eat meat for Passover. So I'm not going to do as elaborate as we did, but I'm going to use some of your tricks. And I bought some blood oranges, so I'm all set. So
Awesome. Well, thank
It
you
was
so
great.
much.
There is a dumpling recipe. So Kate used to teach the kids cooking classes at our restaurants, and there's a dumpling recipe. I think it was like the first one you taught, Kate. And we still make that recipe regularly.
I'm still making the squash
Awesome.
soup.
The
Yeah.
broccoli fritters. Kate,
Oh, I have a lot of fans on here. Thank you guys.
I was just talking
Fans of
about
broccoli fritter.
Kate
Oh,
ran
broccoli fritters. Talk to
class
me
for
about
us.
that. That sounds great. Okay, Kate, I'm going to hit you up for the broccoli fritter recipe.
I have to do a chamber cooking class.
Clearly,
Yeah.
that'd be fun. Mhm.
I mean, I'm not gonna, no spoilers, but we did kind of hint at it with the women's networking.
Sorry, guys.
But we can do more. Anyway, all right, welcome everyone. Again, if you're just joining now, I'll paste the agenda in the chat box again, but we're about to kick off officially, and feel free to introduce yourself, say hi in the chat box. But everyone, thanks for being here, and I think I'll hand it over to Michelle.
Okay. So I'll call the meeting to order at 6:59 officially. First item on the agenda, we'll go ahead and let County Executive George Latimer speak if he would like to.
Sure, thanks. Pleasure to be with you again. And of course, the great Shari Asher, whom I work for, is with us tonight. And I'm sure she's going to want to cover some things in greater detail. Most of what we have focused on, unfortunately, for the last year has been the COVID infection. The numbers have come down a lot from January till March. We still have a ways to go. We know that there have been variants out there, one of which has been present in Westchester, the UK variant. The other two apparently have not. So, we're holding off firm judgments until we see where we are. Our rates of hospitalization, percentages of fatality, and total active cases are down. However, we don't know how much to attribute that to the rise in vaccinations. Right now, we have fully vaccinated about a little over 15% of the population, meaning 2 shots if you took a 2-shot vaccine product, or 1 shot if you took the J&J. It's about 15% of the population, and then about another 15% of the population has had 1 shot and are waiting the second shot. So we could be up to 30%, fairly soon. And of course, the governor, who controls all these different categories, has opened it up now to 50 and older. So the hope is that the more people are vaccinated, the more comfortable they feel interacting in the society, still at some limited way, still with masks on, still socially distancing, but hopefully being more willing to go out, more willing to go to stores and businesses and so forth. We still have less vaccine available than we have demand. But, as the president has pointed out, the hope is over the next 60 days that we're going to see enough of that volume increase so that by the end of May, first part of June, we're going to get to the point where everybody who wants a shot can get a shot. And then at that point, we're going to reach a certain percentage of Americans that are unwilling to take the vaccine. But we're not there yet. How we go about trying to convince the last 25, 30% of the country to take the shot is yet to be determined, but that's ahead of us. All of that is so that we can resume some sort of normalcy. For those of you who are merchants with a presence, on Main Street or someplace else, the more normal we are, the more businesses can reopen, the more we can feel a normal sense of commerce. But I would just say in general, we expect to be better off this summer than we were last year. We've talked about some of the outdoor activities. I suspect, given what I know, at this point, we'll see more of that coming up. And then by the fall, we should see an even better fall than we saw last year. We intend to open Playland in a limited way this year. We intend to open, as we did last year, pools and beaches. So that's an indicator of where we are on all of these things. And there are many other issues at county government level that matter, but they don't all matter the same way to the business community. So you've got a great resource in Shari, who is not only at your chamber meetings, but every other one in the county. And anytime there's a question, you can reach out to her. One final comment I'll make is that the federal stimulus money that came through will provide the county with some additional money for us to resume the grant programs that we had that were out there for small businesses. Exactly the circumstances of how that gets reopened is yet to be determined. But as soon as that is, you'll know. And hopefully some of the businesses that were not benefited last year will get a shot this year of getting some grant money, assuming it's under the same parameters, and so hopefully be helpful. It's all permissible under the program that was passed in the Biden administration. We intend to pass that along. So with that, thank you for letting me say hello, and in due time, Shari will cover some other ground as well.
Thank you. I have one quick question about the Business First grant, or I guess a comment to make is that in speaking to some of our members, some may, and this is specific to restaurants, but I suspect it might, apply to other types of businesses. Some may not have applied for certain aid, whether it be federal or county, because their revenue didn't drop enough, but their costs are up because of the pandemic. And so they're in the red. So just something to consider. This was specifically a minority-owned business that does a lot of takeout that spoke to us about this. So, maybe having a different set of parameters for certain kinds of businesses, exploring that a little bit more because, their revenue is not down, but they're still in the red. They're still, hurting.
Right, so. I think, and I think Sharon and I will have this discussion offline. We need to meet with Bridget Gibbons, our Director of Economic Development, and her team, and have a discussion about the circumstances by which the program opens up. And do we change the ranking standards, which is in essence what you're saying, to make it more flexible? Ken Jenkins has joined us as well. Ellen Hendricks is on as well. So we've got a bunch of folks here with connections, and we'll have that discussion. So whenever it rolls out again, whenever that announcement is made, Michelle will try to include some of those thoughts in it if we can.
Thank you. Sherry, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I definitely want to add that. So tomorrow is our big WOW Awards event, which is happening right in Dobbs Ferry at our very own HUDCO. That is very exciting, and it features Heather, who's here from Club Pilates, as well as the HUDCO women. But we have some great speakers. It's obviously all virtual, except some of us will be there live. So the county executive will be at HUDCO. I'll be at HUDCO, but behind the scenes. The MC hostess for the event will be there. We got hundreds and hundreds of applications of people nominating women in this county who have done such incredible things over this past year that we had to stop reading them to cry because it was just so, and it was very overwhelming, really, and very emotional and very difficult to narrow it down to one per category. But that's what we had to do. But the stories that we read of what women have done over the past year were just heartwarming and inspiring. And so we hope that the event will reflect that as well, that this is a time to really shine a light on the people who have been our light in the darkness, through this whole thing. So if you haven't registered, you can send an email to communications@westchestergov.com, and I'll put it in the chat, but I would say do it tonight because I'll be sending out the link tomorrow. So that's great. We're also planning an event for minority and women business owners. In the past, we were able to put on what we called Connexpos, which were live expos and gave everybody the opportunity to sit in workshops and find out how to get certified, how to get registered, how to get access to capital. We're working on also a virtual component of that. So we had to kind of get through WOW, and then that'll be the next thing. Right now, I think it is slotted for April or May. So I'll, of course, keep you posted on that. And we will be sending out, I'm going to be putting together yet another survey, but it's more of a bounce back survey. And we know that whatever normal is going to look like and what it looks like now and what it's going to look like 6 months from now, it's not going to look like what it looked like before. And a lot of businesses are making changes, and rightfully so. People who have never worked remotely before may like working remotely. They may not want to commute. It may be more cost effective for businesses not to have big office space, but whatever it is, we want to kind of find out the same way we did in the beginning of the pandemic. We sent out the survey so we can see what the Office of Economic Development should be focusing on to help people. And we kind of did all the programming according to a lot of the information that we got from people. So when that goes out, I encourage everyone to fill it out and get it back to us, because it will be something that will help inform what we're going to do. Michelle, I have already been lobbying for certain targeted grants, I'll say, for restaurants specifically in light of certain board meetings through All In and things like that. So we'll see. But Bridget and I have already started talking about what it may look like, but we have to see. There's a lot of pieces that have to fall into place. So
has there been any discussion about, related to the FEED Act and the executive order that Biden signed?
I'm not in on those. I mean, I know that Emily Saltzman is working out a very big portion of the money we're going to get is going to go towards food issues the same way it did last time. What that looks like, I don't know yet. I don't even know that they know yet, because I think it's a matter of evaluating everything that was done and looking at, feeding Westchester and then all the things. Obviously, I'm also lobbying for the community table partnership, because I do think that that was something unique that also brought the businesses in to the fold, and we got a lot of really positive feedback from that program. So we'll see. We can't spend what we don't have yet. So when we have it, and if anyone has any ideas, just shoot me an email, and I'll definitely. I have Bridget's ear. I have the county executive's ear, so I'm happy to be the big mouth that that helps you to get your message across. So, Barbara, do you have your hand up, or do you just have your hand up?
No, I do. Thank you. I missed a little bit of the beginning, and so I just was wondering, there's going to be a second round of Westchester First Grants, and do you know when that is approximately?
Yeah, that's what the county executive was saying, that we're evaluating, what we can do and what it's going to look like. And Michelle brought up a point that maybe the metric or the rubric for how it was decided could, be altered a little bit for different types of restaurants and stuff. So,
Thank you.
okay, I think that's all. You all know where to find me, but I'll put all my information in there, and I'm ever available to you. So thank you.
Thank you for all the great information you send us, Sharon.
My pleasure.
Yes, thanks so much. All right, so next up we have Ardsley Mayor Nancy. I think I saw her earlier. She's here to give us a little update on Ardsley, so take it away.
So good evening. Good evening, County Executive. How are you tonight? And Ken Jenkins, Elian Hendricks, and Sherry Asher. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Well, I think the last time I came before the chamber was in November of 2020. Certainly things are changing a little bit. At that time, we had not finalized our comp plan. Even though we've been working hard through COVID, we still are getting some village business done. And in February of 2021, we did finalize our comprehensive plan, which is now we have a updated plan, which is something we had not had in almost 30 years. Along with that, we did a marketing and development strategy analysis as part of our comp plan. And we are going to pursue a branding initiative as part of our comp plan to sort of rebrand the village and rebrand the village look, even in terms of some of our signage, our letterhead, our colors. So we're looking at updating and changing all of that, which will include parts of our business area. We've been fortunate, I think, that during COVID, our residents and people in the surrounding villages have been very generous to our businesses. And as the information that I have is that we have not lost the business to COVID. So we are very happy about that. I know many of them have struggled during this past year, but really, I think a lot of people supported them. And I know it's been difficult, and I know they are all in places where they need, more support. So everything that we can do for them is a good thing. The only business we actually did lose was Starbucks. And that wasn't due to COVID. We lost Starbucks because even though they signed a 2-year lease for the spot, they decided that they didn't want to have a walk-up store anymore. They want to have drive-up stores. So this didn't fit into their corporate plan, so they closed it. I'd love to see another like coffee shop in that spot. It's a perfect spot. It has an outdoor seating. It's really a lovely sort of an anchor in the middle of the more downtown area of Ardsley. So I'm hoping that we get something similar to Starbucks, if not better, to Starbucks. The one business we did open during COVID, hooray for us, Carvel. So you're all invited here to Village of Ardsley. If you come and you email me, I'll even buy you an ice cream cone. So Carvel is, it's new, it's inviting, some of you might remember that sort of funky, subway smell that it used to have. All of that is gone. It is run by and owned by now local people who have lived here for a long time, which is something that's very exciting. The store looks great. The outside looks great. The ice cream is wonderful. I encourage you all to come. And then you can go and visit some of our other stores. So another thing we did this year is we sort of combined our school activity with our multicultural committee and our business committee. And we do lots of multicultural events. And this year, during the Year of the Ox celebration, we had some high school students who are put together an organization at the high school called Locally Strong. And we decided to involve our businesses by displaying the Year of the Ox dragon that was made by elementary school kids. So the elementary school kids made the dragon, And we put on a Year of the Ox celebration where 2 dragons were put and hung in different stores during the week from February 14th to February 21st. Pictures were taken and pictures were posted on all social media to not only celebrate the Year of the Ox, but to celebrate the businesses involved too. So it really got a lot of our businesses involved in a fun and an exciting way. I'm hoping that we're going to do some more of those things. One of the things that is a little lacking here in Ardsley is the village's ability to do a reach out to our businesses on a more direct basis. So we're developing a list of all contact information for all of our businesses so that we could send out to them directly information about grants from the county or other information that they don't necessarily, we put it in our blasts and we put it in our mayor's messages and things like that, but I want to sort of have a separate kind of communication with our businesses. It's not something we've ever had before. So I'm beginning to develop that avenue of communication, because I think that when we have that sort of collective communication, I'll know more about what our businesses need or don't need. We have decided to extend the outdoor seating for restaurants. And we have decided to shorten that approval process like we did during COVID. Usually a restaurant has to come before the board to get approval for outdoor seating. We've passed a resolution to allow the building inspector to give that permit. So it actually expedites the process. So any restaurant or eating establishment that wants to have outdoor dining can certainly do it on, on an application to the building inspector. So it makes it much easier. Other than that, I'm really excited about our comp plan. Our budget season, we're going through budget meetings now. So a big part of our discussion is how we're going to start implementing our comp plan. And I really think that the first things we're going to do is this branding and marketing. So I really see this. We focused on what we have here. We have medical businesses, we have dance businesses, we have food businesses. So we have lots of different kinds of businesses. And it sort of helped us direct where we could do some of our marketing to bring in additional businesses, and not just necessarily diverse businesses, but businesses that support what we might already have here. So all those things are in the works. I'm looking forward to continuing the collaboration with the Rivertowns Chamber, and I know that Heather is on board here, and so I look forward to working with her directly for the village. So I thank you again for having me.
Thank you. It sounds like a lot of exciting things for Ardsley. It sounds like maybe you need a Barb, not to put you on the spot, Barb, but in Hastings, we have a business there. So I know from experience, she does a lot of the things that you mentioned. She, has a comprehensive list and reaches out to businesses. I'm sure she might, even if she wants to pass her contacts, might have a coffee person looking for a space if she wants to share that. I don't know. But she connects like businesses to places that are vacant. And it's a really good complement to have that to the chamber, to have somebody in the village doing that. And I think we work together well.
Well, actually, I've actually met with Barb. I think she's done a phenomenal job in Hastings. One of the topics of conversation during our budget process is whether, we have money in our budget to hire a person like Barb. And so, that is up for discussion. Once we have this comp plan in place, you don't want to put it on the shelf. You want to make sure that you can move it forward. So yes, I think that having somebody like a downtown advocate is very important. It comes down to dollars and cents for us at this time. So we're going to see where we can go with that.
I'm excited to see your marketing stuff too, because we were talking about, in the chamber, a kind of tourism marketing plan for, beginning next year, not necessarily kind of reinventing things, but taking what we have and figuring out how to market it to vendors, and anything that the villages or other organizations that are already doing is helpful. So I'm excited to see what you guys come up with for that, because that will help us certainly. So thank you. Any questions
Thank you.
for the mayor?
Mayor, do you already have your branding and marketing people decided? Because I know we have people in chamber who are good with that, but
Well, we did a marketing analysis as part of our comp plan. So that report is an exhibit to our comp plan. We have not hired a branding person or we have not hired a marketing person or a business or company to do these things going forward yet. I mean, the plan was literally just passed in February. And then, we're thinking about how we can implement this through our budget process. So we have not retained anyone to do this yet, but these are the steps that we're beginning to take.
Wonderful.
But anybody could feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, I might mention it to a couple people that we know and they might reach out. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions before we move on? Going once, twice. All right. So moving into old business. First item, we've been talking about this a lot. We implemented working memberships before the pandemic, and it's kind of evolved this year. We had a deadline set for everybody to sign up and did not, receive enough input. So we've extended it, I think the 31st we said, right, Elizabeth? And after that point, what we're going to do, just because we're focusing Elizabeth and our committee chairs and our board on certain things, we want to kind of move on past this assignment of people to their positions on the committees. So after that point, if you haven't signed up for it, what we'll do is go ahead and just take that as a sign that you don't want to be a working member, and we'll invoice you for the other 50% of the dues that was discounted because of being a working member. So, we've been emailing, posting on social media. So just, one last final, please fill out the form. I think Elizabeth's just put it in the chat here, and I'm sure it'll be in the meeting recap. Fill out the form, let us know what committee you want to be on. It's not, being on a committee doesn't necessarily mean, you're going to have meetings every month. It's really just about kind of taking the initiatives of the chamber and moving them forward. So you give the time that you can and you chip in where you can. If you have a specific idea that kind of fits into one of these committees, like membership or tourism, join that committee and talk to the chair about that idea. And, we're certainly here to support these ideas that are going to benefit the chamber and the businesses. So just fill out that form and get on that committee so we don't have to do another round of invoices, please. Moving on to chamber website opt-in categories. We announced this last meeting. Again, we've had some responses to this. So we added categories to our website that are woman-owned, veteran-owned, minority-owned, and LGBTQ+. So she just put the link in the chat. If you would like to be listed under, more than the category that you're under, you can let us know which categories you want to be on. I think it's an asset for us to be able to kind of identify who those businesses are in our community. A lot of people are looking for them to support businesses in these categories. So you should certainly opt yourself in on the website. And on that note, not all of our members are on the website. So all you have to do is when you joined, we probably sent like an email saying what we needed. But if you're not sure, shoot an email to Elizabeth, the info@rivertownschamber.com, and she'll let you know what we need, which is just some basic information and image, and we'll get you listed on the website. So if you're not on there, please reach out. It's every member can have a spot and they can be in whatever categories they want to be in. Now, moving on to new business. We are working with Jennifer on a couple additions to the website, one being resources. We've been sending a lot of emails and we figured we would try to streamline that a bit and also kind of anchor these resources in one place as opposed to just kind of sending them out to you and then they're gone in all of the emails that we receive. So we're working on fixing a resource page on the chamber, and then we'll kind of ping you every week with an email saying, hey, some resources have been added, take a look. So we'll still make sure you know that it's there and, you know, remind you to look at it. But it'll mostly just kind of be living on the website. And then community calendar, we want to have a public facing community calendar so people from the villages can see what kind of events are happening at the businesses. So this is going to be an opportunity for businesses to post events that they're having that they would like to get customers or people to attend. So look for that. There'll be kind of an easy way for you to fill out a form, and your business will get, or your event will get posted on there. Next item on the agenda are updates, which I'll start with my president's update. Just a couple quick things. I won't take away from other updates that some of the reps are going to end up doing. For me, the most important thing is we're still looking for a vice president. The role, the way that we defined it, is really just kind of helping me to support the board. So right now, I'm kind of on every call every month with all of the board members and chair members, but the vice president position kind of breaks that up between me and the vice president. It would be very helpful to have someone else take on that role and help me out. We did define it as kind of a president-elect position where you would take over the president's position the next year. That's not required. You know, at this point, it would be great just to have a little bit extra support in my role. You don't have to be the president next year if you don't want to. So if anybody's interested, or if you can think of anybody, send them our way and we'll reach out to them and try to get them to join the board. The next report item on events. I know that I said I didn't see us really doing events before the end of the year, and I still feel, you know, kind of cautious about that. But we had some people reach out about a potential Pride event, like we did a couple years ago. So you might see something that would be a virtual event. You might see something coming along for that. And then we also, about a month or so ago, asked our reps to kind of field the idea of a bike day, where maybe we close the downtown streets and kids can ride their bikes around. Maybe it's a multi-village thing where the bikes go to each village through the aqueduct. It's a pretty heavy lift when you're talking about, you know, closing streets and making sure it's safe for people on bicycles. You know, a similar idea is if anybody has ever done the Bronx River Parkway bike day. I've done that with my son, and it's a lot of fun to be able to go on a long bike ride like that. It's socially distanced. So I guess I just wanted to put it out there, you know, if anybody would want to champion something like that. We're really, you know, that seems like a COVID-friendly kind of first thing to dive into. You know, the trolleys are kind of compact and people are in them, so we don't necessarily want to get into those events. But some kind of bicycle outdoor event, you know, with the downtowns could be an idea. So I just wanted to put that idea out there again. And then the last piece is, because I have restaurants, I follow a lot of restaurant information. 2 items. The Restaurant Association has a public affairs conference on April 20th, which is with the federal government. So it's all virtual this year. Normally you'd have to travel to Washington, DC. It's all virtual. So if there's any restaurant owners that would like to join and advocate for restaurants, you can certainly join that, and we'll send out the information, the recap. And then the other piece is the Restaurant Relief Fund that's coming in the next round of stimulus. The applications, they're expecting them to probably be available maybe mid-April, maybe a little bit later, but there's actually a few steps that you could do before you apply. This, I think, also applies to the grant that has to do with venues, which is going to be, the application is going to be available April 8th for that. It has to do with getting a DUNS number. So it's a 3-step process. You would sign up for this number, and then you have to submit it on the federal government system for award management. It could take up to a couple of weeks to process. And then you have to get your SAM letter notarized. So all in all, this could take a few weeks. The funding is limited for this grant. You know, they're hoping to advocate for it to be replenished if it runs out, but it's very much going to be first come, first served. So this is something that you can do now. And just have it ready so that when the application is available, you don't have to wait a couple weeks just to be able to apply. So I will put this in the meeting recap, all of the information about how to get a DUNS number. And I think that's it. I'll let the reps kind of talk about some of the other things that we've been working on over the past month.
Oh, Michelle, one thing before you
yes.
hand it over. I know Connie put in the chat a question about the back to the community calendar. If it's only for business events, or would community groups be able to announce public events?
Yeah, I think we had talked about that as well. Community events and even like, you know, our street, Dobbs Ferry, had a workshop where they wanted people to join and have a conversation where it wasn't necessarily like a kind of fun geared event, those kinds of things. We talked with Fabian today on our meeting about maybe kind of color coding things or having categories so that if you were just interested in kids events or you were interested in what kind of fun restaurant things were happening, you know, we could, you could find things kind of easily. Obviously that's, and I don't know if Jennifer's on the call, she's probably like, what are you talking about? That's something that Elizabeth and Jennifer are gonna have to work out and see what, you know, functionally what we're able to do.
Great.
So the next up is Treasurer Dina. Would you like to give a little bit of a report? I know we're still working on budget stuff, but.
Yeah, it's going to be a short report because, as you know, we're still working on the budget. But at this time, all the invoices have gone out to all the members. So at least we've got our hands around the QuickBooks, the new QuickBooks platform, and we're meeting tomorrow. So I think well before the next members meeting, we will have our budget in place. Exciting! I know I'm everybody's favorite person.
You're amazing, Dina. Thank you for handling all this stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of work behind the scenes, and Dina's been really great, especially because we've been awarded grants. It's just much more complicated. You know, I don't know, I guess Rivertown Public Market was kind of complicated for you, Nick, but it's a lot of work behind the scenes, and she's amazing. So moving on to our village reps, we'll get started with Ardsley. Heather, do you have anything you want to add to the mayor's report?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I basically have just started to reach out to other local businesses and see if there are any specific, you know, general or more general needs that are in common from the village or the government. I haven't really heard back from anyone yet, but I just started. I started with the list that are members of the chamber. I think there's probably a decent amount of businesses that aren't members yet. So just need to kind of find that list or walk the village or, I don't know, you know, find the best way to contact those people. But so far, that's what I've done. And then I'm also trying to get a blurb for the chamber in Mayor Kabulian's newsletter. So hopefully that's something that can help.
Connie, anything you want to add?
I'm basically in the same boat that Heather is. I've been reaching out to our community groups, the PTA, the Historical Society, starting introducing myself and trying to, you know, be in communication with them. So we do know when they're hosting public events, and I do know that the Historical Society is planning something for May 23rd that they want to announce to the chamber. I can send an email. It's someone from a professor from Mercy College who at their annual meeting will be talking about the colonization of America. So if anyone is interested, it's via Zoom. And I'm hoping to bring that kind of information to our monthly meetings when I have that.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for Ardsley? Ardsley reps, any issues you want to bring up? Moving on to Dobbs Ferry. Kristen, you want to go first? Patty? Who wants to go first?
Kristen can start. I don't know. We're probably gonna have the same stuff. So whatever she says, then I'll say anything if there's anything left.
Okay. We can confirm the Parklet program is a go. It was approved on the last trustee meeting. We got the fees down. Thank you. Michelle was a huge help, and she and Patty both spoke very passionately about this issue so we could get the fees down to a somewhat reasonable cost for all of the businesses. Alyssa Fastman is starting to send out emails with the information and rules and application process. So if you didn't get that today, let me know and I can get it to you, because those are also going to be first come, first serve. Everybody's going to be able to request up to 2 spaces on the first round. They're going to be $50 a month for each space. Once they go through the first round, anybody can then request a 3rd space if they want. And the program is going to run through April 1st through November 28th. And in case if you didn't catch it before, it's open to all downtown businesses this year. It's not just restaurants. So if you know somebody or are somebody who has a retail shop, you can participate too. It's not just restaurants this year. Last night on the Board of Trustees call, there was a proposal that didn't get voted on. It's going to get voted on in the next one, but there's a group that also includes our streets Dobbs Ferry that are trying to get an Earth Day, ditch the car, bring your wheels event that would happen. They're proposing different things like walking tours, play streets, even maybe taking over the parking lot at Cedar and Palisades. So putting that out there, they're gonna vote on what's gonna happen in the next trustees meeting. But if that does go through, you know, there's gonna be a lot of people out on bikes and on foot that day. And so, you know, downtown businesses might want to take advantage of that happening, especially the restaurants. Everybody's going to be pent up and ready to go.
Yeah, if I can just tag on to that a little bit, because our sustainability task force is, you know, they're working hard on that whole idea. We've got, I think we've got 4 different ideas, not to choose from, but that we're going to try and do all 4. And the idea with the bikes, we're going to have a guy who's bringing e-bikes, which I'm assuming are the ones that are, you know, assisted ride, so you can go up the hills. And he's going to have a whole bunch of them that people can try out. So it sounds like this really could be kind of a fun event, bringing people to town. And it would be really great if we could coordinate, you know, connecting up with the restaurants and the other businesses to make it a broader thing. There's been talk about doing some events, closing streets, and I should be corrected if I'm telling the wrong information. What I've been saying is that I don't think we have as much interest in closing the like Main Street and Cedar Street as much as we want to have more frequent events where we can make more use of the parking spaces or something. So if it was a choice of having one event that we were going to close the streets down so that people could come to do something, or 10 events that didn't close the streets, but we got use of parking lots and other things, I think we would want the 10 events instead of the 1. But that's, you know, for all you guys to tell me what you think. So I think, you know, as Kristen said, I think last night's meeting was very good with the trustees. They certainly are, they seem to be aware of the need to be supporting these kinds of community activities. And, you know, it was a little disappointing that they felt the need. I mean, it's fair. They could have done it a different way. Their concern was they wanted to run it by the chief first, which, having done the festa, is like the number 1 rule is make sure that the chief is comfortable with what you're doing. But I think they could have voted last night and said, we're in support of this as long as anything you're doing has passed muster of the chief. And then we would have known who to satisfy. But I think we talked about it after the meeting, and our goal is to just go ahead as though we got approved provide whatever information the chief needs so that we can make sure that we're going to have some fun events happening in the village, basically over several days. It's not all in one day. It's like the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. So it could be really fun.
Patty, you should have given the presentation last night. You just gave so much more information than we got
Well,
last night.
if you didn't notice, I did give a presentation last night.
You gave a long presentation before that, yes.
Right. So, and I had been warned that I wasn't supposed to talk very much. So I did really well. I think I was less than 10 minutes, not only doing the demand rewards, but also covering for the fact that I was told at 6:20, oh, by the way, there's no one to present the community solar. So can you present that one too? So I got both of them done within 10 minutes. So I thought it was good. And then Jen Labadia was supposed to be there. Jen Murphy was supposed to be there to do the other one, but she had something happen at home that she had to take care of. And it was really good that, Larry Taylor, our trustee, stepped in pretty well and covered most of the stuff, but it did lack from, it didn't have as enthusiastic a voice.
Well, if there's something that, yeah, you have a lot more details, and if you guys are proceeding,
Yeah.
as if it's happening, let's coordinate and get information out to businesses so they can take advantage.
Absolutely. What I'll do is tonight I'll email back that we were successful last night and we should move forward and get I guess it's going to be pretty much the sustainability task force that's, making decisions of what to suggest, but then get it in the hands of the chamber sooner than later so that the chamber can add to it, change it, move it, push it around a little bit so that it really benefits our businesses.
Great. Thank you, guys. Any questions, comments, concerns for Dobbs Ferry? Anyone? All right. Hastings on Hudson. I think we just have one rep here, right? We have Ellen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you guys? I'll start by saying our village held an election on Tuesday, March 16th. Nicola Armacost was re-elected for another term as mayor. There were 2 open trustee positions. One was filled by Mary Lambert. She was already appointed as a temporary replacement, and she was elected. And another new trustee-elect, Thomas Drake, and you may know his wife, Julia Drake, at Dobbs Ferry. She is the principal of Springhurst Elementary School. Planned downtown improvements have begun, I'm thrilled to say. There have been improvements already to the sidewalk portion of Warburton Avenue, known as Firehouse Plaza. That has included the replacement of removed junipers with paver stones, new bistro tables and chairs, and the benches that were in bad disrepair facing the street have been removed, with the plans of eventually replacing them with new ADA compliant and better positioned benches. Eventually, there will also be new garbage cans and recycle bins there, and that will start to spread across town. The Parks and Recreation Department, along with Barb Prisiment, have been working hard on plans and budgets for a series of downtown events planned from May through October, and those decisions and some logistics will be finalized by early April. But potential highlights include may include a downtown dining series, welcome back evenings, South by Southside block party on May Day, a weekly summer concert series at McCarran Park, a Jazz Sundays series throughout the downtown, drive-in movie nights at Draper Park, and of course, what we all need, Oktoberfest. There are some events that are already planned and scheduled, starting with Saturday, March 27th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The village is returning to its annual Easter egg hunt, but this year it's bringing it downtown so as to involve small businesses. It's going to be spread out at the library, the community center, and VFW Plaza, and they actually have really cool plans for how to handle logistics and crowd size. So I'm excited for that. Also planned and coming up, there is a bike rodeo on Sunday, May 2nd at the Hastings train station parking lot. The police department and Hastings Velo are going to teach bicycle maintenance and bicycle safety. And then there are all sorts of bicycle races and obstacle courses. That should be a lot of fun. The Hastings Flea is returning for the first time in a year and a half on Sunday, May 16th. I plan on spending all of my money there. And the Hastings Little League is officially up and running as of March 6th. Also, Parks and Rec announced joyfully yesterday that full summer camp will resume this year, and they are waiting on Department of Health guidance regarding the Chemka pool, but they're hoping to be more open than they were in 2020. The only other real announcements I have is there are 3 school board trustee positions open in the next election on May 18th. And if anybody is interested, they can contact the district clerk to get a nominating petition. And of course, our school is once again on the hunt for a new superintendent. So if you know anybody, send them to Hastings. That's all I've got for today.
Thank you. Barb, I don't know if you want to add anything, and also, if there's any questions or comments, any input, about the street vendor issue that's going to be coming up for debate.
The only thing I would add, that was great, Ellen. Thank you. The only thing I would add is, of course, the summer concert series and like an Oktoberfest is dependent on COVID, of course, because right now you can have 200 people at an outside gathering, depending on the size of the space, if that can allow for spacing. And so the budget we submitted for bands, it's the idea is, is the budget spend worth the amount of people that will be able to accommodate, and will the village handle the protocols for COVID? But it's possible, and it probably wouldn't be every week, but it would be, at least a few. We built a stage last summer, which is in storage, so we have that already, and we'd love to have live music outdoors if we can. It does look like the movies won't have to be drive-ins this summer. Probably will be at Draper, in which case it'll be bring a blanket and sit in your pod that we'll mark off. And yeah, everything else should be able to happen. The closed streets for dinings we put in for 9 or 10 of them, I believe we asked for. Of course, all that also, as Patty said, in Dobbs, we have to go through the police department, make sure there'll be staff on those nights, etc. But otherwise, yeah, I think most of it will happen. So that's exciting. And in terms of the vendor, what was your question, Michelle? The street vendors? Just what was that about?
Yeah, we had talked to Joanna and Ellen about the allowing of street vendors, and maybe having some input just to make sure that we don't run into an issue in the future of that becoming too competitive for the businesses that are already there. So maybe trying to set some parameters that make sense and have a balance of street vendors.
Yeah, the whole intention of that was one of the businesses on Borough 6 had requested a hot dog cart, just as an extension of a business that's already there, to be able to maybe put it across the street at the VFW Plaza. Or that would be like, Ellen, if you wanted to take your ice cream cart and ask if you can position it somewhere that's not an event day, but just because it'd be great to use it and there's a space for it. So it was just intended to make sure it fit the rules that the village already had for people who had made a request like that. Because of that request that came up, it was in no way meant to invite people to come. In fact, the discussion at the board meeting was, well, what if that attracts other people here? And the only reason that it was even an issue in rewriting the law was it was an old peddler law. I don't know if Nikki said this when she was on last time, but anyway, it was an old peddler law that said that people with carts had to move every 15 minutes, which is silly. I mean, it may have had a purpose 100 years ago, but anyway, so we didn't want Paul to have to move around every 15 minutes, or Ellen, if they use their carts. So in any case, it's unlikely that it would attract more people, because it's just a slight change in that 15-minute rule, and we're not going to advertise it or promote it to outside people in any way. However, we did ask the village lawyer. She said you can't actually, I'm paraphrasing her, but she said you can't exclude, you can't write something that excludes, certain parties from doing it. If it's allowed, it's allowed. But the question is, can they have some caveats in there that would, kind of conveniently prevent anyone from wanting to from outside?
Or not necessarily, I think we saw with Rivertown Public Market, it was a great attraction, but we wouldn't want to do it too frequently. So maybe frequency, we were just trying to throw around ideas of what.
And there is, no, I hear you. And I'm sorry to talk over you. There is a group, Parenting Children of Color, is planning a food truck event. They've asked the village if they can have the commuter lot to highlight cuisines from around the world. And my input on that, when I heard about that, was, as long as, please invite the local restaurants who also have cuisines from around the world, and let them come for free. And, and then, if it's a one-off event, that's, and to raise money for a good cause and good, expose people to interesting things. I don't see any problem with that. Like you said, Michelle, once in a while, but yeah, not to encourage someone who thinks they're going to be able to park their out-of-town truck at our train station every week or something. Absolutely. Yeah. So if anyone has specific things you want us to ask about that, but that's already kind of the idea as to how can we write this so that doesn't happen, you know, in any way. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really terrific. I don't see any reason that you wouldn't want to do it. The idea of, yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't want to have competing restaurants coming in, setting up with street vendor or things, you know, competing with the brick and mortars. At the same time, being able to give local restaurants opportunities to make people more aware of what they're doing seems like just a terrific thing. So I just think that sounds really smart.
All right. So we have about 10 minutes left and a few more reports. I think, Elizabeth, you're going to read Janet's report, right?
Yeah, she actually didn't get to send her report over, but I know last time we spoke a couple of weeks ago, she just mentioned, you know, she's been talking, there's a new I think steakhouse opening in Irvington. And she's just working on some outreach, but also she's trying to help us we're still looking for another Irvington rep to be the liaison for Irvington for government and business economic development. So we're still on the lookout for ideas there and for people. She had a couple of thoughts on who. And then otherwise, yeah, there's another organization that's I think it was, I don't have it in front of me now, but related to, I think, the Historical Society, or it's one of their groups that has like a GoFundMe that we're gonna put together to share more information on soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have that in front of me, but we can move on.
All right. Next up is women in business. And I'm just looking on here to see.
I know Elisa said she wasn't gonna be able to make it, but she had confirmed that Alexandra probably would, but I don't think she is here. But I do know, I can just share it. What we talked about last time is our next, there is gonna be a Women in Business networking event night, virtual, Thursday, April 22nd. The details are coming together on that. And we had put out a request for a sponsor. We have gotten one person who has offered to sponsor, so we're working that out. But I guess if anyone else is interested in sponsoring as well, the more the merrier. But we'll be looking for sponsors for future ones as well. And I think the difference is we are going to start, I know during COVID, we kind of had no fee tickets. I think we're going to bring back the tickets for, $5 for members, $10 for non-members to attend the women's networking events. So stay tuned for more info on that. They have a bunch of other ideas in the works too, to do them quarterly, but I know that's the most immediate.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more women's networking events this year, which is exciting. Minority owned, do we have Tony or?
No, it doesn't look like we do, and I don't have any reports from them as either.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing where each month our meetings are really just about trying to pinpoint what is going to be most useful, in terms of aid for minority-owned businesses. And right now it's really access to funds. Like, what does that look like? And so we're exploring some different ideas that are very targeted, and one big piece of this is outreach. There are some businesses in our villages that, English may be a second language. So, they, as Tony pointed out, they're not necessarily going to attend an SBA webinar, even if it's in their language. It's just a different kind of approach that they have. And so I think where the committee will come in use here, if anybody still, wants to join this committee, will be kind of direct outreach and speaking to those businesses in person and making sure that they are aware of the resources that we're trying to make available to them.
If I could just suggest, the Mount Vernon Chamber has meetings every Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock, and they also have breakout rooms, but they do like hands-on. There was 90 people on the meeting this morning, and they have combined forces with the Westchester Hispanic Chamber and the Pelham Chamber after we had our chamber leadership thing. but they always have people on specifically talking about access to capital and things for minority-owned businesses. So if you want, I could send you, it's just on their website. It's, Mount Vernon Chamber of Commerce, whatever.net, and you just click on, it's not like a secret thing. So I always invite people, but it might be a good resource for the people in this chamber to sit in on one of those meetings. So.
That would be great. Yeah, we're exploring, maybe it's direct kind of counseling also, like maybe something with CAP. We're exploring that and the cost, and maybe that's something that the chamber can sponsor for a certain number of businesses. So it's a lot of behind the scenes, but once, we kind of have an idea of what we think is going to be the most useful, we're definitely going to maybe need a little help getting the word out so that these businesses are aware. Next is tourism. Is Laura on here?
Doesn't look like she made it after all. I know we talked to her today.
We talked to her today.
Just quick, I know we skipped over under 40, but
oh, sorry.
It doesn't seem like they're here, but I know we have their survey for them to start gathering information on what could be helpful that we sent out in the last newsletter, and I think we've gotten at least a couple of responses so far. So
do you have that link? You want to put it in the chat again?
Let me find that. Yeah, give me a second. Well, you can.
There's also the 40 under 40 awards with the Business Council of Westchester. That I think that application is open till the end of the month. So if you know any young business owners, you can nominate them for an award. Okay, so for tourism, we had a discussion with Laura today about kind of what we think tourism is going to look like going into 2022. We want to attract more visitors as a part of recovery to these river towns. And there's really two questions to answer. It's what do we have to offer? And then how do we market that? And the role that we see the chamber having is trying to bring together different organizations, or key players in the river towns that have something to offer, whether it's an audio tour or, maybe something a business has already set up with Metro North, whatever it is, all these kinds of things that are happening in the river towns, getting everybody together to talk about what we have to offer. And then, Laura works in PR and marketing. She's going to do a lot of research on other strategies that maybe Chamber of Commerce's that handle more tourism, than we do, or things like campaigns like Visit Nyack, where it's, like one village that's kind of marketed themselves, looking at what they've done and figuring out, what was successful for them to market, and then making sure that we have those pieces in place. Obviously, a piece of this is going to be trying to figure out what a budget might be and how we would fundraise for that budget. So it's going to be, a long process. We're hoping by the end of the year to kind of have a plan in place that we can start to implement. So we'll see more on that, I'm sure. Last one is membership. Fabian, would you like to give the report?
Okay, yes. Hello. How you doing? So the report for membership. So pretty much a few things have been mentioned. One is the event calendar, an opportunity for all business member owners to share and promote their business events and promotions. And there's also been some discussion about how to really increase publicity and how to reach more of the public. And to that end, we're talking more about how to increase our mailing list. And so there's going to be a push, particularly with maybe like a Q bar reader or something, maybe something that can be put in the actual windows of businesses, or even a link that businesses can send out to their mailing lists asking for their consumers and their clients to join an overall list for the Rivertown chambers, so that we're able to distribute this calendar of all of the local business events and promotions. We've also talked more about social media coverage, Instagram and TikTok in particular. And we've come up with a strategy. We have hired a young person from Mercy College to assist us with our TikTok campaign. So we will be putting together an opportunity for businesses to sign up for the opportunity to be featured on TikTok. And it's very simple. Really, the push is just for you to show up and have an opportunity to showcase your business, and all of the technical aspects are on us, the chamber, right? So there will be, I'll put together a PDF, a little document with a link so that anyone who's interested in more information and wants to sign up, there will be time slots. Business owners will be able to sign up and we can start that project. Our push is to have a few TikTok videos prepared and ready to launch by the end of May. So more information will be coming out about that very soon. I think there's one more thing that I might be forgetting. Oh, there was also discussion about putting together a page for grants and other financial supports that business owners can apply for. It's going to be a running list. And I know we didn't go into much detail about it in our conversation today, Michelle. But I think it will also be helpful in that running list if it's based on date, because when you're applying for grants, it's really important for you to track your deadlines, right? So it'll be a running list that is up on the chamber website that business owners will have access to, and hopefully it'll be categorized by a due date. But yeah, that's pretty much the updates for membership right now. So just a really big push to add to our mailing list to get information out to the public, a push for businesses who want to be featured more on our Instagram and TikTok account. And then also we're going to open up a Facebook group specifically for Rivertown Chamber member business owners, so that that can be the forum for us to directly speak to each other and share ideas and assistance.
Thank you. Yeah, to add to that, you know, that we have the chamber forum and we have the village forums, but Fabian has some ideas to engage those forums more, and we'll try to encourage more of the businesses to join them. So there's really a central place. You know, it's hard for us to reach out to businesses individually. Not everybody checks their email. So hopefully we'll get a little more engagement on Facebook. And the TikTok thing, she gave Elizabeth and I a list of her ideas, her top ideas for challenges, and it's actually really exciting and fun. So, you know, my thought is that Facebook was a really good opportunity for businesses when it first came out, and then it became saturated, and the same thing with Instagram. And so even though TikTok, you know, might be a younger crowd, I think, you know, it's very unsaturated in terms of businesses. And I think it's an opportunity for us to do something fun and different to attract people to the chamber and to the businesses. And, you know, our strategy is to have somebody that can physically film these things and edit them. And that be kind of like the first step to getting, you know, people to pay attention. And if it does well, then maybe that's something we continue to do to support the businesses. But I think it's going to be fun to watch at the very least. So great. Any questions for our committees quickly before we run over community news? No? Quickly, community news. Sherry already mentioned the WOW Awards tomorrow. Actually, we don't have anything else. So if anybody else has any community announcements, now is your time. Nobody? All right.
To go relax and enjoy the rest of their evenings, I think.
This is a much calmer, shorter meeting than the last one. For anybody that stayed on for that extra hour last time. All right. Well, any questions just in general? Any thoughts you had that as we were kind of running through stuff? No? Are you raising
Question about this
There's a hand raise feature.
Oh, hand raise. Where's that?
Don't worry about it. You did it. All right. It's on the bottom, there's a little reactions button along the bottom menu.
Oh dear. Okay. So let me I'll mute myself and raise my.
No.
No.
No, you're good.
This whole TikTok thing, is there dancing involved, Fabian?
That's a great question. No, there's one or two options that you can select from to dance, but for those who get a little nervous about anti-coordination, there are quite a few options where you don't have to dance.
I think the key is it sounds like Nitin wants to dance, so he's got to sign up.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, there are two options where you can dance, yes.
I'm ready to see.
And you have to dance.
Yeah.
Who?
You.
Oh, yeah, I guess since it's my field, yes, I'll have to. But yeah, there are two options for dance, and then the rest are just kind of like based on edits and all, like things instantaneously changing and such, and then sound effects. But yeah, I'll definitely share the list.
I want to sign up because I'm gonna have a dance crew for you.
Yes, crew is the key. Yes.
I mean, it's all little kids together. We're down. We got this.
Sign me up for the dance as well. That's
awesome. Oh, wonderful.
Do like a chamber board.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to dance.
We should do one, a chamber board. Yes.
Awesome. And just our upcoming meeting dates. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Patty's got to dance if it's a board thing.
I was just thinking, Patty, you want to dance?
I love to dance.
Yes.
I used to dance in the mid 60s on Hullabaloo.
1860?
1960.
Oh, nice.
Hit the top hat.
You two regular Laurel and Hardy's over there.
All right. So you want to announce?
Yeah, next chamber meeting is April 28th. The Zoom link to register is already in this agenda. We'll have Irvington Mayor Brian Smith as our guest speaker. We are trying to coordinate our next board meeting. For those of you who are board members on here, you've seen an email from me trying to coordinate a time on the 14th. Right now, we're pretty split between morning and evening. So Michelle and I need to just chat about that and see if we still go with choose a time on that date or if we need to look for another date. But the goal is to do a board meeting in mid-April. And that means then most of our individual one-on-one calls with board members and most committees will not happen for one-on-ones in April because of that. But there's a couple that we still will do. So stay tuned for more info on that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess the meeting is ended at 8:08, and we'll see you all next time.
Michelle, Michelle,
yes,
it's Pam. Fabian, I put something in the chat. I don't know how to get a hold of you.
Sure,
I put my contact information, so get in touch with me. Okay.
Will do.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we'll be announcing the committees. As soon as we finish getting all the signups, but absolutely we'll be putting everyone in touch. Awesome.
All right. All right. Thank you guys.
Thanks everyone. Bye.